Welcome back everybody to the Daily Racing Show here at RacePlazaMedia, and today we'll be talking about everything that we watched this past weekend racing related.
Yes.
Let's get into it. So, unfortunately this weekend we didn't have the chance to watch that much racing, but we did watch, per usual, Supercross! So lots actually happened this weekend. I will say, first things first, I will say there was actually a lot of good racing across all, so there was good heat races, there was good lucky loser or last chance qualifiers. I'm just kidding, guys. Races, and there was also both heats were very intense.
Or both main events.
Main events, yeah, sorry. Yes. Both main events was also very intense. So I think let's just, per usual, start with 250.
Yeah.
This week we were on the East Coast, back again.
It was so much fun.
Yes.
I mean, they were in Arlington, Texas, so it was indoors again. The track was a little bit different from what we're used to. It was a lot more the softer sand also this time. They were even talking about Eli Tomac, who's of course not in the 250, but he was practicing specifically in Florida to be more familiar, I guess, with that softer sand. The track itself, I thought, was really interesting too.
It was very fast paced.
Yes, they also had interesting rhythm and whoop sections in there that were a little bit different with those longer, I guess, like tabletops where they could jump, like the actual jumps that they were doing this time was very different from, I feel like, from what we've seen before, which I think is really cool that the track varies quite a bit from city to city that they've been in.
Yes, I will say though, I sometimes wish it was a little bit longer because the lap time, so the fastest lap was 45.3 in the 450 SX. So that's quite fast.
It is.
It doesn't seem like the previous one that we had that was shorter. That one seemed more on the quote-unquote easier side of riding. This one doesn't seem like this at all.
No, it didn't seem
but
like it.
But it was very, it was a very fast track.
It was super fun though to watch. And I mean, there was excitement right from the get-go in the heats. I mean, the 250 was absolutely incredible. It started off with the heats already. There was a lot of action happening. It was a tight fight to get into the main event immediately. The second heat had this big...
For 250?
Yes. For the 250, the second heat specifically, there was Papi and Munoz and Linville. They were all competing for the last spot into the main event guarantee. So there was a lot of switching back and forth, which was so... until... really up until the end. And then the last chance qualifier was also a lot of fun to watch. We had Munoz and Papi back at it again, which was fun. And I'm glad to see that they ended up making it into the main event as well.
Yes, because they were battling to make it into it. So that was good that they were able to then actually make it.
Exactly. So that was really cool to see. Then the actual main event was a lot of... Well, it started off really fun. We were rooting for Austin from the get-go just because we know of his past. So we were rooting for him to have a better season.
And he did very well in the first race. He won it. Yeah,
exactly. He won the first race. He did well in his heat. And then going into the main event, he also immediately was in the front. So it was just so nice to see. But as we all know...
He unfortunately, he had an accident. He fell, and he fell quite badly.
Yes.
As of right now, I think, what is it, Kawasaki that he's racing for? Yeah,
so Race Kawasaki, they published a post letting everybody know an injury update for Austin. So his fall was super rough. He fell on concrete, back down. So it was really, really brutal to see. I was glad that on TV, they at least didn't show any repeats.
They did, actually.
They did?
They showed... I think he showed it twice.
Oh, really?
Yes, yeah.
Oh, well, no, okay. I mean, at first I was glad that they didn't show any repeats on TV because I think it took a minute because I had seen... I had seen the repeat first on IG because I went to see if maybe somebody posted something already about how Austin was doing, which is, of course, unrealistic because it was so close. Yeah. But on IG was already... the repeats or the replay posted, and I saw it again. I mean, it's just...
It was bad.
Oof, that changed the mood in the room for us last night. I mean, it was brutal to see, and also knowing, of course, that he's been coming from so many injuries, that he really started off the season so strong, and he was very positive and happy and excited, and then to see him go down like that, and it didn't look like a light injury. But so Kawasaki officially announced or gave us an injury update. They posted on Instagram that he has a spine injury and a scapula are injured.
Yeah. So they haven't said anything about him participating in this next upcoming race.
No.
So we're gonna keep our fingers crossed. Hopefully he will be able to recover from this sooner than later.
Yes.
However, this sport, you are kind of using your shoulders quite a bit.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. And
it's a
also
bummer.
the 250 season is so much shorter than the 450. So I mean, depending on how much time he has to sit out to heal, I mean, I'm sure a spine injury is not easy to come away from. And then also people in the comments were like talking how the medical team could have him up and walking with just barely a neck brace on, now that we know that he had a spinal injury. And the board to carry him was right there, so they probably should have transported him like laying down just to be safe. But maybe he felt up for it. I'm not sure. It was not a good idea.
Yeah.
But I hope that didn't affect anything, that how he's doing. Unfortunately, he was not the only one who went off track. There was also
Jalek Swoll.
yeah, he also went off, unfortunately, with the Triumph.
Yes, but he actually posted online saying that he was fine.
Yes.
He just he took a fall and it was it hurt, I'm sure, in the moment, but at least there was no long-lasting injuries.
Back, next
and
week.
then because his teammate also injured himself in practice or in qualifying earlier that day, he injured his elbow.
Yes.
Oh no.
Yeah.
This was during the press event, right? He then already said he wasn't gonna race
Oh.
because he got an injury. I don't know if it was during practice or something like that, and then in the press event he tried to race and it was like it wasn't.
And it's such a bummer because Triumph is now for the first time participating in it.
Yeah.
So both riders were out and both of them had a unlucky weekend the weekend before. Swoll did prove that he and the bike work well together because he did make up a bunch of places.
Yeah.
So I was looking forward to seeing him compete without any kerfuffle at the beginning, because there weren't any really kerfuffles at the beginning at the races, which was nice. It was like a clean start.
Yeah.
Of course, there were some things that happened also in the 450, which we'll get to.
Yeah.
But overall, I mean, the main event was so much fun. Hayden Deegan ended up winning.
Yep. Congratulations also.
Exactly. He was the one that was right behind Austin for quite a minute. There was a little bit more of a gap at first, but Deegan then also started to catch up on him.
Yeah.
So it was going to be a fight no matter what. So it wasn't guaranteed for Austin yet.
Yeah, that he was going to bring it home.
But I mean, it unfortunately happened just a couple laps before the end.
I think it's maybe 3 minutes or something like that.
Yeah, it was not too much more left.
So maybe like 4 laps left or something like that. And however, for Hayden Deegan, very exciting. It's his first Supercross win. So congratulations once again. Very exciting, and it's really interesting the standing for the 250 SX East Coast. So you actually have Max Anstie?
Max Anstie from England. He's the first
30-year-old.
Yeah. Which we talked about him last week because he made it up onto the podium, which was really nice.
Yeah, the last time the 250 was.
Oh, sorry. Yes, that's what I meant. The last time the 250 East would happen. So we're already rooting for him since he's an older guy in the 250. He seemed really nice. He seemed to have a small team. So, but yeah, he didn't place on the podium this time.
He placed 6th. Yeah, but he still he's ahead. And then second place is Pierce Brown, 4 points down, and then you have Daxton Bennick with 6 points down.
Which I have to say, to be honest, those names don't sound as familiar as, because I'm looking at the list now. Anstie, of course, we know. Then the next person that is the most familiar to me, granted, it's only the second 250 East race
and
that I'm
brand new to sport too, right?
So please.
Yeah.
But the second more familiar name is, of course, Hayden Deegan, then McAdoo, Faulkner, Jaimes. Like, those are more familiar because those have been pointed out to us that those are the ones to keep an eye on.
They've gotten more camera time, it feels like.
Well, that for sure, because they've also been in a lot of the action, or a lot of chat, of course, about them.
Yeah.
But still, congratulations to Pierce Brown and Daxton Bennick that they're up there, and also Cody Schock. But they're a little bit more unfamiliar to me.
Yes, and it's also very interesting between 1st and 10th place. I'm looking at it. It's 12 points, so anything can still happen.
Yeah,
obviously.
It's still very close.
They're barely their second race of the season for them. So anything can still happen. But it's interesting because I'm looking at the 250 SX West Coast, and there's between first and 10th place is 50 points.
Oh, that's quite a difference.
Yeah, that's quite a difference.
But also
they have a lot more races,
yes,
obviously, but
exactly.
still. So it's interesting that it still stays super competitive. But now let's move on to
the 450 SX.
So I think the first thing I want to say is okay. Malcolm Stewart. Okay, he is the man that is always in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Seriously,
he did really well in his heat. He came second, so he did very, very well. It seemed like the bike and him and the track worked really, really well. And then he ended up getting into an accident that wasn't his fault. I've watched a replay, and I don't think he could have avoided that. That happened during the main event.
Yes.
So to kind of give a breakdown, what happened is that it was Fraser.
Well,
that's not how you pronounce it.
No, it was Friese in the front.
Yes.
Then there was Kenny right behind him, and Kenny was trying to pass on the inside, but then Friese was going maybe like a tighter line on the inside or cut him off. I'm not quite sure, but then Kenny went down, and then Malcolm got caught on the bike.
Yes, because he came around the corner, and just like maybe like half a second before Kenny fell, so there was no way for him to get around it because you're also kind of in your own.
Because you have those ruds already, since it is the final race.
Exactly. So you're already in there. There's no way, and then he got hit by the freaking tire.
I know that. Look, I mean, thankfully they wear helmets because it did look like it gave him like a little bit of a jolt.
Yeah, and then the way his bike was positioned after he fell, like he had to do a whole like almost like a 180. And the problem was with the bike, it's not easy. And then of course there are other guys coming, so he ended up dropping down to like 16th or 17th place. Fortunately, though, he fought his way back up into the points, and he ended up finishing 9th, which is the highest placing he had all season this year.
I know, but like, just imagine he would have a race where nothing happens. Not saying that he's not at fault for some of the things that happened during the races.
Yeah, I think the last race he took a tumble, and that was his own fault.
Yeah, so but he's definitely gotten caught up in like kerfuffles like at least 2 more times this season, maybe even more.
Absolutely.
So you're absolutely right. Wrong place at the wrong time, because he's clearly a good rider. Even the commentators were talking about it seconds before the incident happened. They were talking about how he's such a good rider, and this main event, as it was happening at the moment, he's finally doing well.
Yeah.
He did so well in the heat. Like, he's finally showing how good he is. And then he gets caught on Kenny.
It's so unfortunate. And of course, then our other favorite, Kenny.
Yes.
He took a tumble.
Yeah, I saw he posted on Instagram that he was very frustrated with yesterday. He was very frustrated with the race on Saturday. That he's not happy with the results, with everything that happened. And it's just also such a bummer.
Yeah, I don't know what the rules are when it comes to like cutting people off like this, because we see it all the time. It seems like it's generally accepted. You guys can let us know in the comments what the ruling is, because like kind of like causing another person to fall, I guess there is no like, because like we come from F1 and there's penalties for everything. Like you're looking left when you should have looked right, penalty, okay? But it's very interesting to see, but I get it. Like he could have placed probably much higher. It didn't work out, and that is just a name in the game.
I know, but I'm rooting for him. Fingers crossed that next time he's gonna have a little bit more luck.
It's also like you come from a win, and then you end up placing he ended up placing 8th. So it's
wait, who are we talking about now?
Kenny.
Oh, Kenny.
Yeah, because he won last race.
Yes, last week. Yes, yeah. Sorry, I was still at Malcolm.
Sorry, I thought yes.
Wait,
were you talking about that he posted online that he was frustrated?
No, that was Kenny.
That was, okay, so we're all talking about Kenny. Okay?
But yes, I feel bad for Kenny, but hopefully next week he's going to come back and do better again. Also, another one I want to mention is Eli Tomac. He had a little bit of a tough start of the race where he went out in one of the corners. He fell into one of those cushions.
Yes, I think that happened like in the first lap.
Yeah, I mean, it happened really early on because suddenly I saw him like 20-something place. Or
he ended up being 16th.
Or maybe that.
Yeah,
but it seemed like a very high number from what we had seen him, because I remember seeing him at the beginning and then suddenly his number tumbled down.
And the thing about it is also he had a good heat race.
Yeah.
So we expected him to like do well, and then he took a fall, and then he's 16th, and you're like, oh no, what's gonna happen? But do not write off Eli Tomac, because he was a man on a mission this week. I would have loved for him to take home the win.
Oh yeah, I mean that would have been nice. But I mean, so much happened already.
So much happened, but yeah, he ended up finishing second.
Yes.
So really, really great. And yeah, he overtook everyone. He had a cool battle with Plessinger.
Yes, yes.
And then he was at the end. He was hunting down also Cooper Webb, who ended up winning the race.
Yeah, congratulations to him.
Absolutely. I will say I don't think he would have caught him. I think that he was running out of time.
Who, Eli?
Eli would have not caught Cooper. I think the race would have had to continue on a few more laps for him to
I
have
agree.
the
Or
time.
something would have had to happen to Cooper Webb.
Which there already plenty of other things happened.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Yeah, I guess we can talk about it. So Jed Lawrence, he had actually a really great race.
Yes.
Almost a race weekend.
I mean,
so
it started off really strong.
He won his heat, and then he. The start of the main event, he came out of the gates and he took first place, and then he was kind of leading the race, and he was also up quite a few seconds, like 5 seconds or something for the majority. So. And then all of a sudden, you just see see him just getting back on his bike, and then he ended up falling off his bike. I think it was like maybe 2 or 3 minutes to go. So after Jed fell, so Cooper passed him, and then they ended up going into a really good battle because Jed was quite fast on the bike or on the track, so he was about to catch back up to him because it was getting towards the end of the race. So there was only a few more laps going on, and then what Cooper did is I think what happened is maybe that Cooper lifted up his head and he saw who was in front. So essentially, you had a slower rider in the front who was about to be lapped by both of them.
Yes.
But the way I think he positioned himself kind of in the middle of the track and forced Jed to be on the left side. So when they came up to the end of the whoop section, I believe, he was able to get around the slower driver, the lap driver, and Jed was not able to. And I don't think he saw him because he was trying to even go further on the inside of the
I don't know. I feel like he
guy.
might have seen him, but I think it's also that situation that we've learned about, that there are certain ruts, and towards the end of the race, it's hard to get out of a rut. Like, so lapped racers or riders, they have a hard time evading them.
Yes.
So you kind of have to anticipate, and I think he didn't anticipate where the lapped rider was going. So he was trying to go on the inside because he was already on the inside.
Yeah, because he didn't have a place to go because Webb kind of trapped him in that position. It's so smart. And then he ended up falling off the bike again, and Webb just took off, and then Eli and Aaron all passed him as well, and then Jed ended up coming in fourth.
Yes.
So honestly, big congratulations to Cooper Webb. It was very smartly played.
Yeah,
and
very smart.
This is what we talk about every single time. It's like, it's not over until it's over. Anything could happen. That we saw that in 250. We saw that in 450.
Yeah.
I will also want to point out before we wrap this up, I want to say Hunter, I think, had a really good race too.
Yeah, definitely. He did.
And I think he doesn't really get a lot of attention because his brother is obviously doing much better than him, but he's also coming from the 250 and he's consistently placing in the top 10.
Yeah.
He's consistently getting points, so he's doing really well.
Agreed.
Maybe he's taking a little bit longer to adjust. Who knows? But he's doing really good for a rookie. Also,
it's rookie season.
Yeah.
Exactly. I think so. I'm very happy to see that he's doing well, that he's in the mix up there.
Yeah.
I mean, there's lots of big names up there from what
absolutely.
I've seen. It's tough competition. Chase had a little bit of a tougher weekend. I mean, he's still in the top 10. He ended up 6th.
Yeah.
But the commentators were saying that it might still be his hand injury that is still lingering or healing because, I mean, you need it. There's no way around it. So, yeah.
But yeah, I would say overall, and we also learned that this season it seems like guys are riding much later into their careers. So you have actually these rookies riding with these riders who've been
legendary,
who have been riding for so long. I mean, Eli Tomac has so many records that he's set.
Yeah.
You know,
but also Cooper Webb has so many wins under his belt. Ken has a lot of wins under his belt. So it's really cool to see the rookies with some of those
vets.
Yeah, exactly. But the vets are still competing at this very, very high level. And I'd love to see that people are getting older in those sports as well. Like, it's still not old, but I mean that there's a little bit more of a longevity to it, because there's a lot of sports, like when you're in like your mid-20s, you're like,
Yeah,
I'm like,
gymnastics or anything like that. It's like you're 24 while you're retiring. Bro.
yeah, exactly. So
Yeah.
it's nice to see that. And I'm hoping to see all of them have a lot more success and
Yeah.
maybe stick around for a couple more seasons. Because I'm sure the rookies can learn a lot from them, but they can also learn from the rookies, maybe different ways that people come up with things.
Absolutely.
I don't know.
And it's like there's not a lot of other German riders out there, so I want to
Yeah,
see Kenny ride as long as he can, you know?
Seriously.
But yeah, that is it for all the racing that we watched this past weekend. Next weekend, for sure, we'll be watching more because we have F1 starting
Yes.
back up. We have more AMA.
And speaking of F1, if you want to join us while we watch our first F1 race of the season, we'll be doing a hangout session on Twitch and YouTube, so you guys can tune in, hang out with us. We won't be able to stream the actual race, of course, but we'll be there. We can chat in the chat. You can let us know who you think will win.
Max Verstappen.
No, seriously, probably.
Honestly, I'd be very surprised if he doesn't win it.
Yeah, I mean, 100%.
If he doesn't win it, it'll be a crazy season. If he wins it, he'll win.
It'll be what it is.
The other 20 as well.
But yeah, definitely tune
Yeah,
in for that.
yeah.
It's going to be next weekend, Saturday at 7 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. We'll post some more information about it on our different socials and on this channel.
Yep.
But for today, thank you so much for tuning in.
In the comments down below, let us know what you watched this past weekend
Yes.
racing related.
Oh, yeah.
And then, as always, thank you guys so much for watching. Like and subscribe, and we'll be seeing you guys here tomorrow at the Daily Racing Show.